Alright, so ultimate abilities in League of Legends are the most interesting and unique abilities that you can use within the game. From literally being so angry that you cannot die, to being so angry that you're incredibly hard to make die, to being so old that you have transcended time itself and cannot die. But how do you even go about ranking such things? Not well is the answer, so let's try this out. Welcome to another video. It would mean the world to me if you'd consider joining our humble little group of vagabonds and subscribe to the channel. Also, if you agree with even a single ranking on this list, you must like the video to counterbalance the inevitable salt. Enjoy. We're going to be doing another tier list today, and I'd love to do a tier list. It's been a while since I've done one. It's not going to be who I can beat up in a fight. I'm going to be ranking every League of Legends character, purely based on how good their ultimate is. I think it's an important thing to rank because I think some characters are just terrible but their ultis are good. Some characters are good but their ultis are terrible. And I think this is also one that's going to cause a lot of controversy, which we do like to start a little bit of drama, don't we? Akshan isn't on this list, but I'm going to put him in D tier. No, maybe even F tier. So imagine this is me clicking Akshan, dragging him to F tier. Boop. Goodbye. You're out of here, buddy. Ulti, not that impressive. That's the premise. So it's going to be a hard one because some characters' ultimates are, you know, they have so many different applications depending on like who they are. So it's hard to be like, yeah, this is a, you know, good ulti or a bad ulti. For instance, Aatrox's ultimate, like off the bat, is like, it could be either terrible or good. A bunch of movement speed, lots of lifesteal, or like lots of physical vamp. I'm going to go ahead and say he's a B. And I think I'm already ready to put a couple of different tiers in this as well. Like, it doesn't change the game. I don't think an Aatrox ulti changes the game, but I think it changes the lane. And that's where it goes. Similarly, Ahri, I think she's kind of B tier. Half the time, she only uses it to run away. And even if she does use 2 stacks of Spirit Rush to grab a teammate, it's usually your team are like four city blocks behind you. Akali, I hate her, like, so much. Her ulti is so annoying. I'd be willing to put her in high B as well. It's the most frustrating thing ever. You know, I hate her so much. I don't even want to put her in A tier. Not a game winner though. Alistair, I love him and I love his ultimate, but it's not. I love him. It is a good ultimate for him, but in the grand scheme of League of Legends, it's not all that much. I'd say like either C or D. It's great for Alistair, but it doesn't win fights. You don't go, everybody, Alistair's ulti, get in there. For instance, S tier ultimate, probably one of the best ultis in the game, for sure. Wins like if a champion can single-handedly win a team fight based on pressing one button, you're right in the S tier. You know what I mean? Similarly, I think maybe like C tier for Anivia, because it's annoying. It causes a lot of issues in team fights. It causes a lot of issues in lane, but it doesn't like inherently win everything. But it makes everybody's life much more difficult. So it's not like an F tier ulti. It's not like a C. It's not like a D tier ulti, but it's something above that. What happened to E tier? Dude, nobody ranks things on E. Nobody that ranks things on E. You ignore E. You ever done a tier list before, buddy? Come on. Similarly, honestly, any logic applies to for a Mumu as well. Teamfight winner, absolutely. Such a simple champion, so easy to play. Literally, like, it's based as hell. Flash or rocket build Annie, and you win a fight for sure. If you don't win a fight, you pick one person on the enemy team, you blow her up. It's basically just like a smaller scale a Mumu ulti, but it does way more damage. The ult doesn't stun, the passive does. Okay, well, you know what? Yeah, okay, I can maybe agree with that then. Technically, it's only the passive that stuns, so okay. You're getting off on a technicality here, but I would wager that the YouTube comment section is not going to be happy with you, chat. I would say, like, depending on what he's using, like, would be either, I think maybe B tier, high B tier. If he uses Infernum in a clump team fight, very solid. That being said, it's a little bit like, if you use, like, some of the other ones, it's bad. I don't know if you lose points for that, though. Maybe, I think you maybe lose some points. This might be a controversial one. I think that Ash Arrow is S tier. Ash Arrow stuns a teammate or stuns an enemy, people pile on. It's like it's just so reliable, it's so easy to use. It's not like a Mumu's ulti where you have to struggle with like some of the positioning and hitting Qs. You fire it, somebody gets stunned, you dive on that person, they die. That's it. I think it's like pretty B tier. Or, you know, I think it's a good ulti. A really, really solid ultimate. Voice of Light, pushing people back, causing a lot of problems. I think is probably actually the highest on B tier, for sure. Azir ulti as well, I think belongs next to Aurelion Sol. Kind of very similar ultis in what they do in terms of like, his is actually maybe a little bit more on the I'm gonna zone you off, but like knocking people back and really getting in their grill. That being said, I'm only gonna say that Azir ulti is kind of maybe not quite high because people sometimes not so reliable on it. It's borderline A, but I don't think it's A. Also, nobody can play Azir well. There's maybe like 4 people and they're all Korean. So Bards, I think we're gonna have to hold on. We're gonna have to add another one. So I think we're gonna make another tier, and it's gonna be called Might Actually Troll Your Team, and that's gonna be where we're gonna put Bard for the time being. And I don't think there's a single person in chat that would disagree with me. Nobody is gonna disagree with me on that one. True. Actually true. Yeah. Blitzcrank, I think he's a solid C. Silences are overpowered in the game, but the range on it like isn't crazy, and like there's not always that many situations where you can be in the middle of a team and get a 5-man ultimate off and stuff like that. So I think that like C tier for Blitzcrank is pretty solid. Brand ulti, however, I mean it's an A tier ulti when it's used right, but the thing is, I think it would be S tier if people weren't kind of bad with it sometimes. I think it would be worthy of an S if it wasn't so like easy for it to just untether and break, right? But I think if there's 2 people, it's a solid A. If it's like a full team, then it's like an S tier. But Braum ulti, it's an A tier. It's a bit tumultuous sometimes, but I think it's a fantastic ultimate. I think Braum ulti is really great. D tier. I mean I'd be willing to put her in F. You know, maybe put her in F. I think the only use for her is like at either at the very end of a team fight when you should have killed the person anyway, or in lane when somebody's running. It has like basically no use. If you're in a team fight and you start channeling your ultimate, you are actually trolling. So like you're close to being might actually troll your team, but we're gonna put her in F. It's just poor. Camille ultimate though. Camille ultimate is in lane. I mean even in team fights, like a brutal ultimate. And I think she's like a solid B. I don't think she's quite up on A, but I think I tell you when I say A, I think like Cassio. You know, like it's a tempting one, Cassiopeia, because her ulti is so hard to hit. If it was easier to hit, it'd be like it'd be mega S. It'd be top of S. You know, I don't remember the last time I actually saw Cassiopeia hit an ulti. Yeah, we're gonna put her bottom and C. Screw it. I don't even remember the last time that I saw one of them hit. Cho'Gath, it gives you a lot of beef and a lot of like health, and that's part of the ultimate, so it is worth rating that as well as the damage. As an ultimate, it's not that crazy. The extra HP makes him great though, so I'd say B. It's nothing special, but just the stats alone and what it does makes it a B tier, just for what it does, not for like anything like team fight winning. Corki is a D tier, I think. I don't think he's F tier. I think he gets way better poke than Caitlyn does with his ulti. But also, yeah. You know, I think it has to be on the same level as Cho'Gath. It's not necessarily the ulti that does anything. It's the passive that makes it happen, right? So, like, I'd say even, like, low B, high C. I'd say, like, he's around the same, maybe the same level. The thing is, fun is also... Yeah, it's B. B, listen. Why is everybody taking offense to B? B is good. If I put... Wait, hold on. I'll put him in F then. What do we think about that? Yeah, bad, right? No, don't say yes, nice. B is good. S is like the elite. It's like master tier, grandmaster challenger, right? A is like D1. And then like B is like D2 to D4. Still really good. Willing to put her in A. It's up there. It's not... Like, it's pretty decimating. I would be maybe, like, staggering to maybe put her in super high A alongside. Because, like, her ulti needs her E and you know, there's some reliance here. But if we're gonna make that pedantic comment, then, like, Annie should be top as well. Draven ultimate, it's better than Caitlyn's, but not by much. Mundo, though, I'd be willing to put him, like, high D. It's kind of similar to, like, Alistair, really. Echo ultimate. It's pretty good. It's a good ultimate. It makes him such an annoying character to kill. It definitely is like a lane stomper. It stops ganks. It like ruins people's lives. It can be used for a lot of things. I'd say it's A tier for its versatility. It's a very versatile ability. Makes tower diving really good. Makes like fights, like skirmishing really good. If bad things start happening, you all way away. Not really an ultimate. For any character that like doesn't really have an ulti. Evelyn. It's like a good execute, no doubt. I think like C. Good escape versatility. It's good. You know, maybe even wager we put Akali down then. How about that? I think if that's the issue, I think that we can maybe make an argument for that. Ezreal ultimate. I think it's D tier. I think it's better than these two by a large margin. But it depends on the build. I mean, we're not talking AP Ezreal though. If it was AP Ezreal, I'd be like C. But it's not AP Ezreal we're talking about. We're talking about like your average Ezreal build. And it does a bit more damage. It's a bit more versatile because you can get a bunch of stacks and stuff off for your passive by using it, and then you can continue fighting and stuff like that, and it gives you a bunch of attack speed. But still, I mean, listen, Fiddlesticks is like just like hard S for sure, a hard S. Ruins team fights, absolutely destroys entire teams. There's no doubt about it. Fears everybody if you're coming over a wall. There's no argument. It's one of the strongest ultis in the game. Fiora ulti, like great for beating down lanes. If you can get it off and it helps your teammate, sure. C. I'm gonna call it D. I think it's a D. Fizz ulti, I'm thinking D or C. Maybe C. I would agree with low D. Low C, sorry. Great for picking. Pretty versatile as far as that goes. Also, like good for disengage. It's got a lot of uses to it, realistically. I'd say. Galio ultimate, I think it takes a little bit too long to come down. I think it does. But I think if it was too fast as well, it would probably be overpowered. Like, it's very, very solid. I think B is fair. I think B is fair. Gangplank ultimate, it's a global, which gives it good points. I don't think it's any higher than, like, C or B, though. To be honest. Like, I think it's, like, a solid ability. I think it's better than Spirit Rush, but not better than, like, a Camille ulti, you know? Garen... Listen, I love Garen ultimate, man. I don't know. I feel like I'm going to be biased on this one. I feel like I'm definitely going to be biased for Garen's ultimate here. I think it deserves... It's so fun to use. It's really easy. Like, I was like, bro. The thing is, the spectacle of using it is great as well. It, like, shatters makes your screen go weird and, like... If I'm gonna, I know I can feel myself wanting to put him in A here. You know what? It's my tier list. Shut up. I didn't ask, right? I don't care about the rules. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Can't win a team fight that way? Yeah, but I changed the rules. I don't care. It's just about good ultis. Its team fight potential is just one of the many metrics that I'm using. This tier list is shit. Yeah, but you also think that Fiddlesticks ulti is an S tier. So, like, I also didn't ask. Plus your cringe. Plus also ratio. Somebody ratio this guy right now. I think Nara is pretty, it's pretty, like... on par with like Cassiopeia ultimate. It's like big if you hit it, but it's hard to hit. It's big if it's hard to hit. I know that I've overrated Garen. You don't have to tell me. I've well and truly overrated Garen. He should not be an A tier. The only way you can stop me is if you come round and take the mouse out of my cold dead hands. Gragas ultimate might actually troll your team. I think everybody could agree with that one as well. I think it's a great ulti, but also there's a good chance that you ruin your entire team's life. It could very easily, it could be here, it could be here. It depends on who's using it and how you use it. I think like it's probably low C, maybe even high D. I'd say high D maybe there. Graves's kit does not revolve necessarily around his ultimate. He's a great character, don't get me wrong. Doesn't need his ulti that like his ulti doesn't make him. You know what I mean? I think that Evelyn's ulti would probably be much lower if it wasn't for the fact that she was invisible, and I am taking the invisibility into account. It's you know, Gwen ulti is actually really good. See if you hit everything on it. Like if you hit Gwen ulti, it slows. It's doing so much damage. I think a high C. I think a high C for Gwen. Hecarim ulti, I think like probably might troll your team. I think like is worthy of an A as well. I think Hecarim ulti is like really brutal as far as like ruining teams' lives go. Heimerdinger ultimate It's all very situational, but I'd say like overall, like they're all, it's a bit meh. Alawi ultimate. We're not going to take into account team fight in this because it's just not how like necessarily how Alawi rolls. I think she's got an A tier ability. Alawi's ulti is nothing without her passive. Yeah, but like, are you really gonna make me rank Alawi's passive based on her jumping up and down and hitting the ground? Just that's it. Like, you're not. That's all I'm ranking it on. Not like the repercussions that come from like maybe 2-3 man ganking top and going into an Alawi ulti. You really gonna think I'm gonna ignore that? You really think I'm not gonna, you know, maybe comment on like people engaging hard onto an Alawi and her like completely obliterating an entire team on her own? It's a life ruining ultimate. It's a brutal ultimate, and I think like it's really easy to play around. All right, Mr. Challenger, but like I think you'll find a lot of the time when you see an Alawi ulti, well, it's whew, don't go near her. Aurelia ultimate. I'd say probably like high C as well, honestly. I think it's like, if she can hit multiple people on a team, it's really solid. Gives her the resets, gets her like kind of going. Actually, it's definitely not better than like Cassiopeia ulti and like these. Is it like really high D maybe? I think maybe really high D. I think high D. For the average, thingy. So like, I'm gonna say it. I think that like Ivern ulti is really good. I think everybody underestimates Ivern ulti, and it does so much. But the thing is, like, nobody realizes that it does a lot. You don't, like, when you're seeing Ivern, you don't, for whatever reason, people's vision does not take into account Daisy. Daisy, like, collapse, and nobody focuses her, nobody cares, everybody ignores Daisy, when Daisy is the real one that you should be worrying about. He needs to be high ranked. I think high B is a very solid thingy. I think might troll your team is another good one. Also, might troll your team. 2 in a row. Janna and Jarvan, 2 champions that might troll your team. Maybe not so much Janna, but I've definitely had situations where like you ulti and you blow away a low HP team, blow out an HP enemy that get away. Jarvan as well. Cataclysm just has a tendency. I can't count the amount of times that I've been like waiting for a Jarvan ulti to go down, and I'm like, let me in! Let me in! I'm playing a melee and I'm trying to get in. There's a Master Yi inside and I'm just like, let me in! Jax, I think like high D. Jax is nothing without his ultimate, you know? And the extra armor and the extra magic resistance is like absolutely solid and like totally here for it. But as like, you know, it's not like that crazy, you know what I mean? Jace ulti, not really an ultimate. I'm just gonna put that there. Jhin ulti. Now I think like one thing I'm gonna call into question here is that and I'm gonna put him in an A tier, but I'm gonna explain why I'm putting him like pretty solidly in A here, because I think like as a concept the ulti is great, and I think that's something that maybe needs to be taken into account. Jhin ulti is just like, it feels great to use, it looks great, it just feels so in line with the character as well, and like, yeah, I just think it's a really great ability, and a great ultimate. And I'm just adding that now. This is my own opinion. Similarly as well, like I think Jinx Rocket is really, really powerful, and an execute as well, and probably maybe not so high, maybe like here, mid B. Kai'Sa ultimate as well. I hate it so much. It's really solid. Well, I would place Ezreal down here and Jinx up here because this executes people. I don't. Oh, and I also I don't know. Oh, man, I'm starting to doubt myself. It does way more than these two. Chat, I'm undecided about Kai'Sa. What do we think about Kai'Sa? I think it's a really solid ulti. I would agree that like it's a solid B. I'm gonna put Kalista and might actually troll your team because I think that that's obvious. Karma ulti. It's really solid. I wouldn't necessarily say it wins team fights, but it's pretty good. It's pretty alright. I think I hate Karma though. I hate Karma, so I'm not gonna put her high. Karthus ulti. It's a great ulti. It is a great ulti. It is a great ulti. I can't deny it. I think it's gotta be A. It's a fun ability to use. It's got a long cooldown, but it's a fun ability. It's really in line with the character. It can change fights. It does great damage, but it's like one of these abilities that you wait to get to use it. Everybody loves Karthus ulting. It's so much fun. Nobody likes playing Karthus, right? Trying to hit every Q is just like stress, and it's frustration. Getting dived by assassins while you try and use your W to give them less magic resistance so you can hit them with Qs, and then hoping that your E does enough damage to kill them before you die, or when you're dead you try and kill them yourself. That is stress. That is not worth it. But the ulti is amazing. The ulti is incredible. The ulti is great fun. It's a fun ability to use. Deserves to be an A. Kassadin ultimate as well. Kassadin as a champion would not exist without that ultimate. It has time and time again proven to be one of the most overpowered abilities in the game. It is such an overpowered ability, it has to be like high B. At least high B. Kassadin has been broken throughout the years because the scaling on that ultimate is too much. It does too much, it does so much damage, it's so low cooldown, it does everything it needs to do. I could argue that it's low A, but I don't want to seem biased because I like playing Kassadin, so I'm going to put him in B. We need to flatten the curve out here a little bit. Katarina, it's a fun, once again, a great ulti to use. It's fun. Like I think it's worth being up there. I think maybe even higher than Jhin, to be honest. Like higher than Jhin for sure. A-ulti. I hate Katarina. I hate Katarina. Don't get me wrong, but I can't deny that it's a very good ultimate. It's a very good ultimate, especially with like the low cooldown, applies Grievous, all that good stuff. I think it's like maybe D or C. I'll be honest with you. And the reason for that being is because she incapacitates herself to use it. I don't think it might troll your team. I think it will troll you. If you like ulti out of instinct a teammate that is useless and they don't do anything and they die anyway, you spend like a second and a half not attacking, but you can ulti other people. Yeah, but you can ulti other people, but you still can't attack when you ulti other people. I think like high C. I think it can do a lot in team fights. For instance, like you ulti somebody and then they panic and they back out, and then all of a sudden you've got like a free train ticket ride to the back line or what have you. I think C is fair for Kayn. It's a good placing. It's a good placing. Kayn and ultimate has got to be up there. I mean, AoE ultis that do a bunch and stun people and do damage is like they're pretty much like freebies here. And you know, I'm even you know kind of thinking that maybe I did Diana dirty a little bit. And Annie a bit dirty, to be honest. And, you know, and Braum a bit dirty. I'm feeling like I did these champions a little bit, you know, a little bit dirty. Maybe in like, oh, you ulti over a wall as Fiddlesticks, and then you can potentially fear the entire enemy team. And somebody be like, actually, that's not his ulti, that's his Q passive. I'm like, shut the fuck up, man. Like, seriously, man. Kick rocks, go touch grass. Because you're losing sight of the bigger picture here. You know what I mean? Kha'zix, it upgrades his other abilities, but it's just like, invisibility, it's annoying, it's just kind of meh. Kindred, are we agreed on that one? For sure. Absolutely. I think, you know, and this is no offense to the Kindreds that might have ended up in my game, but I'm pretty sure you've saved the enemy more than you've ever saved me. Very rarely will I ever see a Kindred ulti to save me. Usually they try and save themselves while I'm about to kill the enemy ADC or something, and they're like, ah, I'm about to die, ulti. And then the enemy ADC is like, thanks. And then the enemy Nautilus is like, we haven't been formally introduced, my friend. Kled, I think like I think it's a really fun ability to use. I think it's really fun, and I think it should rank highly because of that. Maybe not. I think here would be a great place to put him. I think like Kled ulti is one of the most fun abilities to follow people into, right? I think it is like that was it's a super fun ability to follow people in. Kog'Maw ultimate, I really like Kog'Maw, but it's like such an F, dude. It is like genuinely like if you're playing regular Kog'Maw, not AP Kog'Maw, it's just not even worth using. It costs so much mana really quickly. Yeah, it barely does any damage. It's good to pick people off when they're running away, but like beyond that, you know, it's a toughie. LeBlanc, I'm like, it's kind of meh. You think it's A? I think it's all right. I think maybe it's C. Like I think it's kind of not that crazy, you know. Like I think maybe C. It's very versatile, but that being said, like I would agree that like maybe even, you know what, I think Lee Sin deserves to be and might actually troll your team. So any champion that has an ability that can save their teammate is like very might troll your team. So I think like Leona, I don't think she's S, but I think she's up here. I think she's an A for sure. It's a really low cooldown. and it's really good. I think the cooldown has to factor in. Later on, you can have that ulti on like a 20-30 second cooldown, and it's really solid. Not really an ultimate. What do you mean not really an ultimate? Solar Flare is an ultimate, brother. Same as well with like Lilia. It's really good. If you can get a bunch of people, it's a great. It's also very thematic, and I like it a lot. Lissandra ultimate. I don't think that Lissandra has an S tier ultimate. It is good though. I think it's like basically like Cassiopeia, but single target potentially. Lucian. I think he's like about on par with Ezreal as well. Lissandra's S tier, it saves or destroys the enemy, and it's good. Listen, don't have to get insulted that I put it in C. I could agree that Kane's ulti isn't as good as that, actually, you know. Lulu right now, in general, is just busted. I actually want to put her, like, very high. I think it's better than Braum, and I think I would even wager it's better than Braum and than Leona. It's also, it is a fun ability to use. A big knock-up. Lulu, I mean, it doesn't hurt that Lulu is, like, really strong right now, I would agree. Lux ulti, I think, like, a nice B tier ability. Fun to use. Does a bunch of damage. Quite low cooldown. Yeah, that's it. There's not really much to say about Lux's ulti. It really just is what it is. It does what it says on the tin. Malphite ulti. Oh yeah, baby. Get him right up there, rock solid with the boys, dude. I would love to put him in S tier, but when we're looking at the sheer scale, it's like so cool. Maybe even like borderline. Maybe even borderline. Am I gonna get bullied in S tier? Right, fine. I want to put him in S tier. So if you want me to put him in S tier, then absolutely, dude. Sure, why not? Sure. You don't have to argue with me. It's not that hard. I think Malzahar has to be like next to Lissandra. I think it's like a maybe less than Cassiopeia. It's so good for ganking. It doesn't win fights, but it is like having a character that has an exhaust built in. it's like solid. It is a really solid ability. There's no doubt about it. It can be a little bit awkward to use sometimes, but it's a point-and-click suppression. It's great. Honestly, I think that Maokai might actually be a troll, like, ulti. I can't believe that ulti exists. It's just, like, really bad. And I'm gonna put it in might actually troll your team, because I think that when you see Maokai ulti, you think, let's go in. And then 20 minutes later, the ulti hasn't hit yet, and you're like... Or when you see ulti, Maokai ulti to chase, and then the enemy team just takes a leisurely stroll. It's either F tier or it's like, you know what, I'm gonna put him in F tier. I'm sorry to say it. It has the potential to be good, but it's too slow, man. Master Yi, it's a cool ability. I'll give it that, but I think it's like kind of meh, and like it's not very impressive to use, and it's kind of, you know, whatever. Now here's where like the ADCs kind of come into like a different space here. I think that like Misfortune ulti is for sure like a B or a C. I think like it's got to be one of the two. Some people were saying A, some people were saying C. Can we agree on a happy medium of like low B? Because it has the potential to like win a fight for sure. It is a great ability for sure. Shouldn't be used like in a lot of circumstances. Some people like rely way too hard on the ability, and I learned that myself when I was getting coached. But Mordekaiser might troll your team with this one. Mortality is just big potential for trolling your team. It could be S rank, it could be F, it could be anywhere in between. It encompasses every aspect. Like as I say, like a Bard ulti could be S tier. A Gragas ulti could be the best ulti. It could win a fight single-handedly with a good, or it could spread the entire enemy team right out, just as your fucking Rumble ulti drops on somebody right down the middle, and then Gragas just fucking knocked everybody out the side of it. It could be amazing, and it could be useless. Like Morgana, really good ultimate. I'd say like not as high as others. So like, I'd say like maybe B or like low A. I think B is fair. It takes a bit long to get going, so I'd say like it's fair to put her like mid B, like mid to high B, for sure. Like if it hits, it hits. If it doesn't. It takes a bit long to get going, but it's not quite. It has the potential to be really solid. But yeah, Nami ulti though. Nami ulti, I would almost argue is an S tier ulti, either high A or an S tier. It does so much. Buffs your team, slows the enemy, knocks them up, like. It does everything. It's a bit slow, but like it's so good. It's like a Braum ulti, but with like twice the range or something. I think like yeah, Nami deserves to be up here for sure. Nasus ulti,
I think it's like D tier, dude.
I mean, you know, like, but the thing, like, you know what actually makes his Q really good? It's nothing special. It's nothing special, man. D for DK. How about that? Nautilus ultimate. It is a really solid ultimate. It kind of depends though. Like, it shuts one person down so hard, but it kind of depends like who you're ulting, because it could potentially be dragged through like the entire team. There's the potential. It's a point and click knockup though. The highest of high Bs, I think, is great. Nico ulti, I think it's like very similar in a way to like Morgana in a way. It can be screwed over very hard though. I think it like literally deserves like exactly the same as Morgana. Nidalee, not really an ultimate. Nocturne ulti, I'm taking an executive decision here to say that Nocturne ulti is S tier. It is such a good ulti. People do not use Nocturne's ulti well enough. It really annoys me that people underestimate how Nocturne's ability, his ulti, could be used defensively. Like, if you're, or used to, like, scare enemies off of objectives. When I'm running away, if my teammate is running away, and he's getting chased, I ulti, and then 9 times out of 10, right, like, the enemy team that are chasing my teammate run away. Like, it makes everybody in the game go, hold on, and then it makes them rethink everything they're about to do. I genuinely think, and I hate seeing Nocturne players who don't use ulti to deny information, but it is so, like, powerful. It can be like the most influential ability in the game. Even if Nocturne doesn't use it to go in, you can use it just to CC essentially everybody in the enemy team for 5 seconds, right? It's such an overpowered element, but nobody uses it right. I swear, nobody uses it right. Nunu's ulti is so fun. Really, yeah, it is great early. If you're going AP Nunu, but we're not talking about AP Nunu here, so I'd say like low B, maybe like a little bit higher than those guys. Ragnarok from Olaf, it's nothing special, but it's good. It is good. I think like maybe like high C. Orianna ultimate has got to be like up in the A tier for sure as well. I think any combination of engage makes her like incredible. I think like she's actually like higher than these guys potentially. It can be, the thing is, it is easy to miss. It is easy to miss. Like Malphite ulti is hard to miss. You can't miss this. Hard to miss. Hard to miss. Like, okay, maybe not hard to miss, but hard to miss. Yeah, I'd even argue you could put her like up here. Maybe even there. Ornn ulti though, there's a lot of things that can go into him screwing up his ultimate, but I think it's great. The thing is, it's basically just Nami wave though. It's way more satisfying to hit an Ornn ulti than it is to use a Nami ulti, but still. Pantheon ulti. I think it sucks, dude. Like, it's a free TP, but like, you know what I mean? I would wager that old Pantheon ulti is maybe like here, maybe here, but like new Pantheon ulti it just doesn't have the same tight beat. You know what I mean? Poppy, you might troll your teammate here. You might actually troll your team. Pyke ultimate, dude, I love it. I think it's like it's got to be like with Cho'Gath and with Darius. Great ulti. I think also maybe like either high B or A tier is like Qiyana ulti if it can hit. Qiyana ultis can like absolutely clean up games here, and I think it might actually be like really high A tier. Quinn ulti, you go kind of faster. Sorry, buddy. You're going straight into F tier. I hate to say it. I just get picked up by my bird and I go kind of fast. Woohoo! It's not really. It's kind of a boring ulti. It's not that great. Rakan ulti is great as well. It can be very easily stopped though. So I'd say like, I think a solid B. It's like with the amount of like mobility in the game on champions nowadays, I don't think that like Rakan has the chance to get big ultis off like maybe you used to. It's so easy to like knock him back or like do your 15 dashes on your 80 carry and Gale Force away. It takes a lot for him to get into the team, but if he can get an ulti off, it's very, very solid. I don't think I've ever hit a Rammus ulti in the center. I'm just gonna say it. Like, I genuinely don't think I ever have. It's a cool ultimate, don't get me wrong, but like, I have never... I never have seen a Rammus hit dead center, middle ulti, and knock people up and do damage. It's a fun ulti, and I think it's probably better than what it used to be. But it's so hard to hit. And I don't think Rammuses who play him use it for the actual damage or the hit in the center for the knockup. They just do it so they get into taunt range. That's it.
Which is totally fair and fine. It's just a gap closer, but at that point, it's just a D tier. It's not that great, right? It's a really solid like assassination ability. I think it like deserves like a C tier. I think it's nothing special, but it's definitely solid. As with that as well, I think like Rel, I don't think she's like A tier necessarily, but I think she's like maybe like above Kled, but not much further than that on the B tier as well. Renekton, I mean, it's gonna be like, it's gotta be the same as not Nasus here for sure. Rengar ultimate as well though. It's kind of meh. Like, it doesn't even grant you Fury anymore, right? Like, they took away the Fury generation that he used to have, I'm pretty sure. I think, I mean, he deserves to be with Kha'zix probably, right? He can be scary. It's a scary ultimate, but it's not like an ulti that like, it's not like when Nocturne ultis you start panicking. When a Rengar ultis, you start working together. If you're with like one or two people, one or two other people and a Rengar ultis, suddenly you become SEAL Team 6 and you're like covering every entrance and watching out for which direction he might be able to come into. Everybody when a Rengar like ulti appears, everybody gets prepared to kill Rengar. It basically lights a siren off that says, Rengar's about to dive in, please get ready to burst him. Riven, solid A. Dude, you're kidding yourself, man. Dude, you're fucking, I'm not gonna lie, you're delusional if you think that Riven is an A rank ultimate, man. I don't even think you believe that. You're just typing letters, man. I would be willing to put her in C. I think C's comfortable. I think it, you know, she power spikes super hard with it, man. I can't deny it. But like, it's, you know, it's a good, like, it's a good ulti. C, once again, C isn't bad. D isn't even bad. D is just meh, right? C is average. B is pretty good. A is really good. S is like, this will win a fight on its own, right? F rank is, you're probably not going to do anything with it, really, realistically. Rumble ulti, it's a really good element. It's like so good. I don't think it's S tier because it's quite thin, but I think it is very good. I think it is an absolute team obliterator of an ulti. Like, up there with Brand for sure. I think it's really, really good. I think Rise is a no-brainer. Might actually troll your team. Don't follow Rises that you don't know. Solo queue Rises are like stranger dangers. You can't see inside their head. You don't know where they think is a good idea to teleport to. Do not follow Rise portals that you don't know. Unless your mate is on Discord and explicitly says, I'm going here, get in. Do not ever follow a random Rise. It's never worth it. Because what I've found is that you teleport and then you find that there's a lethality Scion waiting on the other side of it. Just about to finish his fully charged Q. And then the hammer comes down. And you're donezo, baby. So, Samira, it's like Cat Arena ulti, but not quite as good. I think, like, it's a great ability, and I think it's, like, B tier. I think it's probably better than these. Yeah, I think mid to high B is a really good place for it. It's easy to knock off ulti. And I know that, like, Katarina's is as well, but she also applies, like, Grievous. And, like, I think it applies a lot. You know, it's not better than Katarina's. Let's not kid ourselves here. Yeah, Sejuani is probably up there. Probably, like, high B. I don't think she's A. It's a good ulti, though. It's a good ulti. Okay, Senna ulti, I think it's, like, C tier. It's great, and it's cool, and it's global. Doesn't, like, crazy impact everything, though, but it's a good ultimate. It's a good ulti, don't get me wrong. Dude, I hate to say it, but, like, Seraphine is, like, up there. I think she's, like, along these three. Maybe even S, actually, because, like, it's a charm as well, and it does pretty solid damage. You know what? I'll agree. I will agree that Seraphine's ulti is an S. It kind of depends on the positioning of your team, but if you can hit, like, a multi-man Seraphine ulti, you are pogging off, dude. Set ulti, it might be a bit of a trope. I think it is sometimes. You drag somebody far away, or you ulti somebody into your team that then they proceed to kill your team. Depends. Shaco ultimate, I think, dude, I have to say that I'm gonna rank this pretty highly, but only because of the creativity of the Shaco community. I think he's very bottom B, but like, Shaco mains are so creative with the way that they use this. It is actually really impressive, and I think that they've elevated that champion. God knows, for God's sake, Riot certainly aren't doing anything to touch him or help him. I don't even know how you can be a Shaco main in 2021, man, because, like, I'll be honest, like, there's a long list of characters that Riot are gonna see to before Shaco, and Shaco is at the bottom. He is at the bottom, dude. when Akshan's W passive has longer character length than Shaco's entire lore, then yeah, man. Shen, I'd say like a solid A. Low A or high B for sure. Very versatile ability, very pog. I'd maybe even say put her like here. Let's assume, because like I don't know if we're going like, you know, AP Shyvana or not, but just in general. I mean, Singed ulti, like it's kind of like it's kind of like, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't really do much. I mean, it gives you like some speed. It gives you like some healing. I think it's better. It's definitely better than Pantheon ulti. And like, listen, don't get me wrong. When he with everything he uses, this makes him great, right? You know what? Like, if we're gonna give Mundo D, I'd say we give Singed D as well, just for like the steroids that heal you. I'd be willing to wager that a lot of people that play Singed have never even read it before. They're just like, it makes me go faster. Hee woohoo, yeah. Sign ulti. I don't think you control your team with it, but I think it could go either way. It's not like you don't save teammates, you don't save enemies with Sign ulti, but it's a solid ulti for sure. I'd say like if you can hit it, it's great. And it's probably better than Nunu ulti, I'll say. Sivir ultimate, it's just a movement speed upgrade, speeds up her team. It's kind of like on par with Karma, so maybe like in maybe D. We're gonna say F, I would not disagree, to be honest, I would not disagree. Skarner ulti, it's fun to use, it's a great ability, it's a lot of fun to use, so I'm gonna go ahead and say B tier. I say that it elevates beyond Malzahar because you can move them. Sona ultimate, it's really good as well, if you can hit it. It's definitely like a B, I would say, or maybe an A. It's not as good as Seraphine's though. If Seraphine is S, then I'd be willing to put Sona bottom of A. Soraka ultimate as well. I mean, I'm gonna put her with Karthus. If Karthus heals, it does damage, and thingy heals. It's just great. It's solid, very very solid. The global heal is huge. Yeah, it's great. Swain ultimate. This is a tough one, man. I'm not like fully decided on whether or not like I'm like that Swain ulti is a top tier ability. I think it's like maybe like solid B. Silas, like, hold on a minute. I honestly, like, there's no like there's quite literally no there's nothing like it, like there's no way it like really just like, you know what I mean? Like you can't, because like sometimes, you know, it might be troll, because sometimes if you're in a game where there's like all the ultis just take are bad, then you're like, well, you know, whatever, right? But like but he's not S+++, because let's say like the only ultis that you can take from are bad ultimates that won't benefit you. Like you get like Kha'Zix or like, oh, Fiora's ulti, woo, great, I'm gonna take that. No, it's just he has to have his own tier. It doesn't matter. There's no way to quantify him. Syndra, just the absolute ruiner of like 80 carries lives. Nothing particularly crazy of an ability, but I think like a very solid B. Tam, get into that rank and don't talk to me. You know what, Talia, while you're there, get into that rank as well. Hey, listen, Talia, once again, it's either amazing or it's just bad. I think like a high C for Talon, to be honest, which is, it's just an average ulti. Like it's a good ulti for smashing people to bits. It's just a good ulti. It's a very high C tier. I like it. Taric is like possibly like the best ultimate in the game if people know how to use it, I would argue. I think that it is undeniably like the most powerful ultimate in the game if it can be hit. That's the thing, timing it perfectly, that's a whole skill in its own. Timing a Taric ulti and getting a team that can get inside it is like that's why it's like the hardest ability to use, I think, well. But when it gets used well, it does not matter like what happens, man. Nobody's taking any damage. It's just a massacre. I mean, if I'm putting him high, it's based on a meme, right? Putting him high is a meme. Poison, Comet procs, maybe. Leandri's proc and Demonic Embrace, slowing, a vision as well. It grants. I'd say like I think it's maybe high B, mid B, high B. I don't like Thresh ultimate that much. Can I say it? I very much feel like it's a tough ability to get going. It's not like useless. It's a gigantic slow, but it feels like really annoying to use. Like if you catch somebody and then you flay them back and then you drop your ulti, I feel like they've got enough time to like run out of your ulti, man. I'm like, oh jeez. It's rough. I think I'm gonna put it like low C maybe. There's you know it's got so much potential though, dude. It's got so much potential as an ultimate that it's you know it's a rough one. Tristana, you're going straight into might troll your own team, 100%, 100%. Trundle ultimate, stealing stats from an enemy, all well and good. I think you're kind of it's a bit meh. It does heal. It really depends who you're against. So I'd say overall it's a solid ability, but it depends what you're up against. Tryndamere ultimate, I would happily put him in the high B. Not being allowed to die for a solid amount of time. Why better than Kayle? Because Kayle incapacitates herself when she makes somebody invulnerable, which is not necessarily the best thing. Yeah, Trin can get stunned, and it doesn't just because he's invulnerable doesn't necessarily mean that he's not gonna get killed. So I'd say put him right there. TF ultimate, it's like an A. I'd say it's an A tier ability. I'd say potentially a very powerful ability similar to Nocturne ulti, makes it super solid. And it's not a troll ability because you can't troll your team with like vision. Twitch ultimate as well. I would say like he's around the level of like, you know, actually I think you're better than most of these actually. Now that I'm thinking about it, but yeah, putting Twitch in B, it's a solid ability. Udyr, not really an ultimate. I'm like almost tempted to put might troll your team for Urgot here. I'm almost tempted to say like the amount of times that I've just stolen kills on Urgot and wasted my ulti because I'm like, I'm doing badly, I need to take a kill to get my KDA looking better. When I know that it would be better to leave it. It's great fun. His ulti is so fun to use. It could be S tier, it could be F tier. It's, you know, it's just a stupid ability. There's not been a single Urgot on planet Earth that's ever hit an ultimate and then let his team kill them if they're in range to be ultied again. Varus ulti, it's kind of like a ranged Morgana ulti in a way, but I don't like know if I want. It takes a bit longer though. I think I'd be comfortable putting him in C. I think. It's a really good ulti, and it can spread pretty far, which is really good. Final hour is like you got your invisibility, you got your I think your increased AD, but I mean if as an ulti like it's fine. It's fine. I think it's fine. Vayne's a great character. Vayne's a great character for sure. Veigar, Primordial Burst, like it could be all over the shop, dude. It's a great ulti, but like I can't in good conscience put it in. I mean, if I'm gonna put Garen there, he's basically just AP Garen, right? If we're putting Garen in for the meme, Veigar's ulti is basically just AP Garen. Let's be honest. It does pretty much the exact same thing in AP form. Vel'Koz's ulti, by the way, also just like super incredible. Very, very, very solid Vel'Koz's ulti. You ever seen Testo play Vel'Koz, man? Woo! Viego ultimate. I think it's like D tier, man. It's nothing to do. You can't even use his ulti, right? Like you can't even use other people's ulti. So it's not Silas tier. It's just that he goes, you know. And yeah, you can use it like a couple of times in a fight, maybe. But like at its base level, it's only the resets that make it good when you get other kills. But on its own, it's just like it's okay, but it's not great. You know, it's not like an amazing ulti. He gets invincibility frames. Yeah, but so does like Kayn, and he's like in D tier, I'm pretty sure. Or where's Kayn? Oh, he's like very low C. Rek'Sai, very low C. There's plenty of characters that get like iframes during some of their ultis. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're like good, right? It also applies on hit. Thank God the 40 damage from my Nashor's Tooth that I built on Viego is doing a bit more damage. Victor ulti, dude, it's kind of like Daisy in a way. Like nobody gives even the slightest inkling that bad things are happening when a Victor ulti is down. The highest of high C's, I'd say. Vi ulti, it's kind of like Nautilus in a way, but I just don't think it's as good because you have to commit to it. So I'd be willing to say it's like low B. It's like Nautilus, it's basically the exact same as Nautilus ulti, but you have to all in it. So she is never going to be higher than Nautilus. I'm not allowing that, but I'll allow her to be like, if you want to ruin somebody's life, then it's for sure like decent. AoE, damage amplification, and then healing on the vampire man himself. It's a really solid ability. I think Vlad as a character is like an A tier character. Like he's just really strong. He's never not gonna be strong. Maybe because he's overtuned, but like Vladimir always ruin lives for sure. Volibear ulti as well disables towers. You get a bunch of HP. It's basically like Lulu ulting yourself, I would say, is also really solid. Not like an S tier, not even high A, pretty low A, I would say. But it's a good ulti. It's great. It's perfect for diving, perfect for surviving, escaping, engaging, like surviving burst. There's so many uses to it. Warwick ulti, I would say, I love Warwick ulti, but it's not higher than like Malzahar, I would say. Yeah, it's good, but it's not better than Malzahar, I would say. I don't think it's a B tier. I'm sorry. I'd say he belongs in C. Warwick belongs in C. He can't be higher than like Malzahar or Skarner, who does the same thing that he does, but like slightly better. Like, and also, like, I mean, it should be, you know, realistically, it should be lower, because Warwick can theoretically stun himself, but not. He can land his ulti. So here's how it works, right? So if you land ulti on somebody and they QSS it immediately, they can move. And they don't take damage from your ulti when they move out of the range, but you can't move until your channel is done. So theoretically, you can stun yourself for 1.5 seconds while you claw air, and the enemy can walk away. Is that not absurd? And this has not been changed or fixed or patched for. This is like a bug that the Warwick community, like the Warwick mains community, have been like trying to get fixed for years since the rework. Like, they have been trying, they've been like, they are like, please fix this. But it's just like, the Warwick community have like, they have a lot of issues with Warwick. They want him to be better, they want him to be fixed. But that's just one of the things that can happen, right? Wukong though, baby, you're taking the fast track to the S rank. Potentially double knock up, team-wide knock up. He can knock an entire team up by himself. It's unbelievable ability. It really is. It does so much. If you clone through a team, no way it's S. Knocking an entire team up potentially two times. It's. If we're gonna say that like Malphite is S tier for knocking up everybody one time, then I reckon that Wukong is up there, even possibly better than that. You know, Xayah ulti. I like Xayah ulti. I think it's like a really nice, solid, like C tier ability. I don't think it's better than Senna's necessarily. I think it's a great ability. C is a very modest rank to give her. I think that like I don't think that Xayah is necessarily what everyone uses in a fight, like in a team fight that isn't her trying to get killed. It's a really great survivability move. I tried to use it as an offensive move in the Forbidden Technique video, and it was pretty rough. It was pretty fun though. Xerath ulti, with the amount of mobility in the game, dude, I feel like this is just like an ability that's just got indirectly nerfed. Just by virtue of so many characters having dashes now and like Gale Force. I think it's up there, but I really struggle to say that I would put him higher just because like so many characters have dashes, and like if they don't have dashes, they have like a Gale Force or like something that's makes it, you know, movable. Xin Zhao might troll your team, knocking people around. Oh wait, Akshan is on this. Oh, sorry. There you go. Did I put him in D tier or did I put him in F tier at the beginning? I didn't realize he was at the end. I think like Akshan's ulti is pretty bad. Not the lowest, not the worst in the game. Probably high F. I put him in D. If he's gonna go D, he's going like bottom of D. Barely serviceable as an element. Is it bad that I'm like tempted to put like this into like might troll your team? Because I think like a big ulti is like very like game winning, but like it's so conditional, you know, that it's hard to, you know, say. Because if not, then I'm gonna have to go based on like the average experience with Yasuo, which is like, I'd say that it's like a better than Riven probably, but like maybe like low C, you know. It's a great like CC extension though, I'd say. But like it's fun to use, don't get me wrong. His ult, yeah, Yoni's ulti is pretty good. I'd say that like it's at least like, you know, A tier. I'm gonna put him in A tier and we'll see what happens here. Yorick ulti, I think I'm willing to put him in super high B here as well, or like very like low A. I think for what Yorick does, it's so perfect for him, and he just ruins lives with it. So I'm gonna put him like high A. Yuumi ulti, I hate to say it as well, she's pretty good ulti, very solid ultimate. I don't think it's S rank. No way it's better than those two. Like near Sona, I can get behind that. Man, old Zac ult used to be like really solid. Old Zac ult was so funny. Well, not the last one where you used to go into the ground and then go bloop, and like scoop people up. Used to be a lot of fun to use. As it stands now, really disruptive, really solid. I'd say like probably like high C, sorry. Deathmark for Zed. I don't think he's an A tier ability. I think it's like another C tier ability, kind of similar to like Talon in a way. It's higher than Kayn for sure, but not tremendously so. Ziggs is ridiculous. I'm just gonna say it. Playing like against high elo players, like in Twitch Rivals, watching high level Ziggs players play Ziggs is pain. He will win every fight. Like it's absurd how good. It's seriously probably even better than Rumble. Like if you can place it right. Like watching my team in Twitch Rivals get absolutely torn apart by like Ziggs left and right who were hitting ultis, it was absurd. Like they I say Ziggs single-handedly won most of the fights by just grabbing an ulti in the backline, and it just forces so much back foot playing, and it just really screwed everybody over. I would not have said it if I didn't have to sit through like 9 or 10 games where like multiple of the and scrims as well where he played against Ziggs and got torn apart by Ziggs. Zillion, I'm gonna say like it's just a game changer. It's such a game changer. I don't think you can. I mean, yeah, you could troll your teammates if you ulti yourself. Maybe if you ulti yourself, yeah, which has happened to me before. But I think for the most part, people aren't dumb enough to do that. For the most part, Zoe ulti, honest. I mean, it's kind of meh of an ability, I'd say, but it gets, I don't know. She jumps a little bit. It's not terrible, but it's meh, Zyra ulti though is gotta be like, it's gotta be up there for sure in the A department. I'd say maybe not quite, maybe actually slightly. No, you know what? I'm gonna swap this right now. I think Brand is up there. I think that's fair. There we have it. We have ranked every single character in the game based on just their ultimate. Nothing else about them, and I wonder how much flack this is gonna get me. Probably quite a lot, I would imagine. This tier list hurts my brain. Well, you can be sure to argue about it in the YouTube comment section.